incorporated in the symbol because God is the great architect. Now we know that the eye doesn't represent God at all, but represents Lucifer, and so that's a misdirection. You will also notice that the sun and moon are above columns. This is a new one, but columns in Freemasonry represent gods. Therefore, this image in its entirety, which is replicated frequently in the craft, shows a sun god, a moon goddess, and above and behind them all is Lucifer. Columns are also phallic symbols. Albert Mackey, 33-degree Freemason, writes, "The phallus was an imitation of the male generative organ. It was represented usually by a column, was surrounded by a circle at the base. The circle at the base represents the female vulva, and therefore inserting the upright column into the circle makes it a sexual symbol, and that brings us back to this symbol we looked at earlier." An article in a Masonic bulletin says, "The female principle, symbolized by the moon, assumed the form of a lunette, or crescent, while the male principle, symbolized by the sun, assumed the form of the lingam and placed himself erect in the center of the lunette, like the mast of a ship." Remember the mast and ship symbol from Catholicism. There are so many ways to express this exact same idea. We saw earlier that the obelisk outside the Vatican made this point and circle symbol from the air, but you will find these obelisks or Asherah poles literally all over the world. The most imposing and important ones are to be found in the major cities or power bases and financial capitals, but wherever you live, you will probably not have to go far to find one close to you. This obelisk is from London, and this one is from Paris, and this one is from New York. And these were all taken directly from Egypt and rebuilt in their new locations in the 19th century. The London and New York obelisks are a pair, while the twin of the Paris obelisk is still in Egypt. You'll find them on every continent, in democracies and autocracies, in nations of all political persuasions. You'll find them in major capitals, in financial centres, and probably near seats of government and power, but also in the furthest flung and most remote areas of a country. You'll find them in your local parks, in your local graveyards. They are all pervasive around the world and are nothing but sexual symbols representing the satanic sun god, Baal. During the summer of 2009, while still researching the series, I visited the Wallace Monument in Stirling, Scotland, and suspected just from its design that a Freemason may have been involved. These suspicions were quickly confirmed. It was in fact designed by a Freemason. Now obviously it could be argued that most towering buildings today are column-shaped, so a level of common sense must be employed. Not every skyscraper was designed to be a hidden symbol. However, you will find that wherever Freemasons have been involved, sexual connotations are no accident. You will also see obelisks very frequently in graveyards. Often they're for deceased Freemasons, but again, this is not always the case. It appears to have just become the fashion for some, and many may have picked them without realizing their origin. Remember the recurring mountain theme from earlier also. Satan likes to claim the high points in his bid to become the Most High. With that knowledge, I looked for the high points in Scotland's capital city, Edinburgh, to see if there was an obelisk present. Sure enough, on Carlton Hill, there is a significant one that gives views over the whole city. Notably, it is within easy view of the Scottish Parliament, the castle, and other traditional strongholds of power. As the King of Tyre wants to control the Prince of Tyre, the human governors and rulers, you will often find this symbolism within range of governmental buildings or financial centres. There is also a theory that these monuments are built along ley lines being geometric lines that run along landscapes, connecting ancient or secret features together. The idea is that they are channels along which energy can flow between points.